Welcome to the XY Advisor podcast. To join a global community of financial advisors sharing and learning with one another to drive the positive evolution of financial advice, head to xyadvisor.com. This podcast is brought to you in partnership with Hub24. Hub24 make a difference in the lives of advisors by connecting you to innovative solutions that create opportunities with market-leading managed portfolios and customer service excellence. Want to know more? Visit hub24.com.au. G'day, how's it going? What do you know, Strike Light? Clayton here with one of, if not the most podcasted financial planner in Australia. Paul Mann, mate, thank you for coming back on.
No problems at all, Clay. Great to see you again, mate. It's been a while.
Yes.
But, there's been reasons for that, hasn't there? Just a couple.
Yes. The world is a very different place in a very short amount of time.
For many reasons. And congratulations, mate, on the birth of your first child. Fantastic.
Yes.
News. That's awesome. And also, congratulations on your first raising of XY Advisor, mate. That's seeing I was there right at the start when we had that conversation many years ago in North Sydney. Saying, what are you doing, mate? And look what you've done. Congratulations. And I must say, I'm very happy to be on board as well as a shareholder, I think is what it's called. So,
mate,
interesting.
That's
times.
Really good point. The fathering and the raise sort of happen at the same time. I'm not sure if I'd recommend both of those events going on at the same time, but
take a big bite and chew like hell. You know,
exactly.
That's all you got to do.
Exactly. But yeah, thank you. It's the dad stuff, love it. And the raise was successful, which is a huge relief. And we've got some big plans. But as way of background, Paul and I were introduced. He was my mentor when I sort of first launched my company and in financial planning. And you're now you head up the WSSA.
WSSA, Workplace Super Specialist Australia. And I'm also, that's sort of a part-time gig, and then I'm also a full-time advisor with True Directions Financial.
So you got a lot on your plate as well. And then before all that, you were obviously general manager at MoneyWise, which is a huge financial services company that was doing advice for many, many large companies around Australia, and also started out in trading. If anyone wants to go back and listen to the playlist, the Paul Mann playlist, we covered
that was back at the first one. As we know, my first job was a chalkie on the stock exchange. So there you go. That's my age. I have flipped over to 50 this year. So made it halfway, I reckon.
Yes.
Been a great journey and a very interesting one. And this year has been one of the most momentous. That's for sure.
Yeah. And the reason why I love catching up with you is not only do you have a big hand in sort of the industry as a whole, and not only do you have like one of the highest quality sort of investment overviews for a financial planner, but you also are super involved in the behavioral side. I mean, some of the books that you've had me read over the years was Selling with a Noble Purpose, Good to Great, all of these ideas which making me think bigger at the time and sort of saying, actually, financial advice is about more than just investments. And considering your pedigree, it was an interesting thing to come across. Like a lot of advisors, if they have the background that you have, starting out in the stock exchange and being really involved in that equity piece, but then to go to the other side and be like, actually, there's a lot of hand holding that can be done, a lot of rewiring of behavioral, behavior and achieving results, not just on the investment side. That's kind of like the bread and butter. It's ticket to the game. You shouldn't be a financial planner if you can't do that. But then there's so much more on top of that you can do. And that was always, I guess, an amazing thing. You were one of the first people to sort of introduce me to that concept. And then that's sort of blown up into a big team that is now XY Advisor. Mate, I want to, I want to talk to you today about what you're doing as a financial planner for clients. You know, after sort of, I guess we've seen a lot go on in the market. I'm keen to sort of find out, you know, what it is that you're doing for people these days. Has it changed or is it the same? And mate, talk to us about what's going on.
Well, okay. Yeah, that's a big intro, mate. And you've said a lot there. Look, at the end of the day, I realised that chasing returns for clients isn't the reason that you're a financial advisor. It's too hard to pick, you know, and I think you can add a lot more value, not trying to chase the latest stock, the latest, newest ETF, buddy. Look at the listed investment company situation, LIC. Yeah. I mean, people chasing all these new and fangled things. I realised quite a long time ago that the core of what we do is changing people's attitudes to money. That's the basics. That's what we need to do. And you use, you know, I think I've said this to you a long time, you know, you use your skills for good, not evil. You know, you become, you read a sales book, you know, and there's one of the best pieces of advice I've ever been given. I think I've said this in the past, you know, read a sales book every year, but then use your powers for good, not evil. You know, in sales, it's about moving people from one side to the other. It's about communication. It's about, you know, opening people up and understanding what they're doing. And it's not selling them something. That's not what we do.
Yes.
What we, you know, it's not product. And I know you've said this a lot. Product is not what advisors do. You know, advice is what advisors do. And advice is about moving someone from a situation where they're probably not utilising their capital in the right way. They're not maximising their position. They don't actually understand their position. They're not in control of their position.
Yeah.
Our skill piece is to move them from there to a place where they are in control and are making decisions based on a knowledgeable, from a knowledgeable place, right?
Yeah.
And it's not my position to judge what they do. You know, I don't care if they spend their money on whatever they want to spend it on, as long as they understand what they're doing and they're not doing it just from habits that they've learned or haven't learned from a very young age. And we'll get into that in a sec, but, you know, or their wants are driving them, not their needs, and they don't understand where they're at. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I think everyone has this sort of attitude to money that's set in stone from a really young age. So what's so interesting about that, and it is interesting, is we all have sort of an attachment to, say, money that meant a lot to us when we were young, but then the larger that those sums get, it's almost there's an emotional disconnect because let's say, you know, you grow up and you get $10 from your grandma for your birthday, right? You have a lot of value for that $10, but then, like 20 years later, when you're making $100,000, $150,000, maybe even more per year in salary, we don't have that emotional connection to such large sums of money. And so it can totally get away from us. So people's responses to large sums of money, I've found, are far more devil may care and laissez-faire than compared to small amounts of money. People often will get annoyed if they leave, say, $5 on the ground, like drop $5 or find $5 on the ground, than they are about wasting $50,000 over the course of, a year or two on stuff that they shouldn't be wasting their money on. And I think you're exactly right. It's almost like the advisor is the personification of a relationship with money that never occurred when individuals were young.
So remember, money is, whilst it is a physical black and white, it's dollars and cents, and it's numbers in now it's numbers on your phone, and it's just it's this just man-made thing.
Yeah.
Remember, for most people, it's emotional.
Oh yeah.
Right. It is emotion. Money is emotion. Emotions are tied to it in every way, from your formative years all the way through. And your bias towards money is emotionally driven. And that's right. It's not that $5 that, where's that gone? I've lost it. Well, that's fear of, I'm not in control. It's fear of, it's these basic emotions that are driving your opinions and your attitudes to money. And again, that comes from, I see, especially in our society, and every society is different. Our society, your basic Western, dinner table, you don't talk about money around the dinner table. You don't talk about money. You don't talk about sex. You don't talk about religion. You don't talk about politics. Not generally. Like, families are all different, but they're the sort of, well, you vote this way because that's how you vote. You're born a Protestant, you're a Protestant. You're born a Catholic, you're a Catholic. Whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Money. Dad, where's that? Don't worry about money. We don't talk about it.
Yeah. Full
stop. Because whether you got it or you haven't, if you haven't got it, you don't want anyone to know. If you have got it, you don't want anyone to know, right? If you haven't got it, you want to get it. If you have got it, you don't want to lose it. There's all these cyclical pieces that just are fully emotional, human responses to this man-made thing that makes our world go around. I find most of my work is about dealing with those emotions and taking that out of it, getting people to a factual spot where they know exactly what they've got, how to manage it. We put a structure in place that allows them to understand what they can spend and has everything else apportioned, and making sure that you have guilt-free spending in there as well, right? Unless
you're the one that gave me the concept of the spending plan rather than the saving plan.
100%, mate. We did that a long time ago. To put a positive spin on it, how you spend your money, not. Yeah. It's not always being on a diet, because if you're always on a diet, it's a painful thing, right?
Yes.
But if you have a good eating plan, you feel like you're in control and it's positive, and you get a cheat day and you feel good about it, and unless you have a positive spin on it, you're just always hacking away. And Kath, my business partner, and I really hone on people's structure. But again, I can talk about the best stocks right now, what's happening in the markets, the arbitrage between different areas. With short term, I could go into that at length, but I can add way more value to my client's life by actually putting a good banking structure in place.
Yeah.
And taking the fear out of, have they got enough money,
Yeah.
One thing, especially, and it's not something we've done previously that much, but we have got quite a few retiree clients now. The best thing we ever do for them is put a projection in place showing them how long their money lasts. You do that and they go, oh, so I've got enough money to last.
Yeah.
And you do that, that's all they care about. They just have this fear that's going to run out, and some of it's just not, it doesn't make any sense what they're thinking, but they have it. I had a client in their 90s recently who has more than enough money than they will ever need, but has that inbuilt fear because he spent the past 90 odd years of his life making sure that that's the case.
Yes.
So he can't get away from that.
Yeah.
Regardless of it, right? So that's just taking that fear out, showing them that, look, you're okay. And that's what that emotional response, however you do it, is the key. And it's imprinted, as we said, from a very early age, from those dinner table conversations that you don't have. So you grow up thinking money is this thing that you can't talk about. So who do you talk to it about? And where do you learn about it? And how do you learn about it? Because you don't learn about it. You learn about how to count at school.
Yeah.
You might do commerce or, a bit of economics in year 9, year 10. That's supply and demand. That's not how to run your money.
Yeah. You learn finance at university. You learn debits, credits, supply, demand, fluctuations, strategies. You learn everything that's rational. But the thing you don't learn in university is personal finance. You learn everything about corporate finance, but not personal finance.
So one of the funny things, one of the things I used to do, we do a lot at Flight Centre back in MoneyWise Global days. Flight Centre was great at training people to be really good business people. Those people who sat in front of those offices, who the team leaders there, they ran their shop. They knew, where every dollar was coming in, where every dollar was coming out, where, because they were getting charged by the company for all different. They were really, really good small business people. They knew their stuff. And then their personal finances would be a mess.
Yeah.
So I used to bridge the gap and say, well, let's just call this, and actually go, well, why don't you put that system in your personal life? You understand how much money's coming in and when it's coming in. You can budget out for the whole year. You know what your outgoings are. You know what your cost of seat is, or cost of life, as we call it now. But what your base costs are and where your variable spending is. Put that in your personal life. And I used to wait, and then you'd just see the light bulb moment, and they'd go, oh, yeah, wow.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's this weird thing, because it's so personal, because it's so emotional, because it's this ethereal thing that people are terrified to look at, because it's almost like, I can't remember. I don't even know how to pronounce the guy's name. Schrodinger's or something. Schrodinger's cat, where the cat is both alive and dead in the box at the same time until you look at it. And it's almost like your personal finances. Is it okay or is it not okay? And it's both at the same time if I never check. And so it's almost the default position is I'm so emotionally attached to this situation and to my own outcome that it's almost scarier to check than it is to even understand in the first place.
And again, this goes back to that very early age where, you don't know. You don't know what's good and you don't know what's bad. And there, and with money, there's no blood pressure. There's no heartbeat. Like, as humans, you go to the doctor and he tells you, well, your blood pressure's high, right?
Yeah.
And how do you know that? Because there's a benchmark.
There's a tool, right? Yes.
There's a benchmark that we all should have a blood pressure of so much. I'm not going to go into blood pressure because mine's a little bit higher right now. But, they do a blood test on you and they know whether you've been good or not, right?
Yeah.
There is no benchmark with money because some people want billions and don't feel comfortable even then. That's they just can't get enough. And some people don't. They give it all away. They don't need much. It's not important to them. And that's fine. They're both fine. There's no, you should have this. We all run with a few benchmarks that we think, well, you should have $1 million in your super and a few investment properties paid off, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Some people don't want that, mate. They just want a simple life. And good luck to them. That's fantastic. And some people just want more.
Absolutely.
Well, work hard and do what you need to do. But there's no, so for me as an advisor, sitting down with these people, getting them to unlearn the fears and unlearn the scars of the past and reapply it in a new structure and to take control of what they're doing. That's the key, right? And to have, what is their benchmark? What are they looking for? What's their future look like? What are they, we talk about goals and, goals-based advice and all that. I mean, that's not a new thing. I mean, that's what should have been everyone. Yeah, unless you hone in on what people are trying to achieve, how are you going to get them to achieve it? And that's for me my job. That's what I do. I need to be that trusted best friend to them who they confide in and open up to and talk to me about their fears, talk to me about their dreams and aspirations and what's holding them back from that. And my job's to realign it all and help them through it and show them the way forward. The other thing is you can't make them do it. You can't, you put all these things in place, and if they go back to their old habits, well, that's something we need to realign back again. And that is a hard thing, and it happens quite a lot. And that's where education and breaking it down and not trying to pretend that we have some secret sauce that is our little piece that we, only if you come back to me, I'll give you this secret sauce and I'll fix it every time.
Yeah.
That's not the thing, if anything, it's the other way around where we open it up as much as possible and show them what this is, how it all works, empower, and get people to a situation where they're absolutely in control of what they do and from a day-to-day basis and know in general terms where they're headed.
Which is super valuable. And the coolest thing is, I would say that if you want to call it the revolution in financial advice, the way that you've always spoken to me about financial planning, I would say is a more and more common conversation in financial planning, which is just so relieving. It's almost,
it has to be.
Yeah, well, it's almost mandatory at this stage, but it's still a really good thing that I would say the chances now of someone walking into, let's say if someone was to open the Yellow Pages, for example. I got a hilarious story actually about Yellow Pages. So at Christmas time last year, my wife was talking to my mum, and my wife goes, I'm looking to get a massage, just on the shoulders. And mum goes, oh, here you go. Here's the Yellow Pages. It'll save you from Googling it. I was like, yes, the Yellow Pages exist. The Yellow Pages should do a TV ad with just that one line. Brilliant. Anyway, so if someone was to pick it up out of the Yellow Pages or Google, whatever your preference is.
Yeah. For those of you who are quite young, the Yellow Pages was an old thing that we used to have, which was full of companies and their phone numbers and their contact details.
Yeah. So good.
You used to get two of them. They were about 3 inches thick each one. A to K and L to Z.
Right, that's awesome. And so if someone is to randomly find a financial planner, the chances that they're going to talk to an advisor who are talking about the things that you're talking about and that you've been espousing for a long time, the chances of that happening has gone up, which like from an industry point of view, I'm really happy about. But at the same time, you got the people like you that have been talking about it for a long time. Mate, I'm interested to find out, because we touched on it really briefly before we started recording. You've got an education, but it's more than an education. You've got courses, but it's more than courses. I want to know, like, how are you using these digital and like, how did you build it and how do people access it? And I'm interested to find out how you're using technology.
So to go back to your point, that you're right. If you have a bit of money and need financial advice, the marketplace has never been better. It's never been stronger. It's never been, you're not going to be flogged with a product that's aligned to wherever the person, the advisor works. Yeah, you're right. It's going to be holistic. It's going to be strategy focused.
Which
fantastic
is excellent
for our industry. We love that. You and I have been talking about it forever. That's our it should be, and we're on our way to hopefully less compliance and make things easier, and because we're doing the right thing.
Yes.
So that market, if it's not saturated, it's never been better, right?
Yeah.
So how do we? So we've decided quite a while ago that we wanted to do more than that, and that's Kath and I. That's why we were, at MoneyWise, what we did, we affected a lot of people. We've always had passion for financial literacy and financial education. Now, financial literacy has morphed into financial well-being. I mean, there's a lot of things that people are calling it. Essentially, it's getting to people earlier to get them to have a good grounding in how to manage your money, right? The basics. Instead of paying an advisor, how many $100 an hour to take you through that, our vision has been to get people who can't afford full financial advice to start their journey earlier.
Right.
Okay? Start their journey earlier. Start understanding how to budget.
Wow. So you've built a course for people who aren't your clients.
Yes.
Wow. That's so
this isn't for, look, our clients would benefit in some parts from this course.
Yeah.
But it's more about how do we start this earlier?
Huh.
How do we get people on the journey earlier? How do we start people from year 10, year 11, year 12, university, first job? How do you start? Where do you start? Because you can take this all the way back. And we're hopefully influencing. So we talk about this with our clients who are parents.
Interesting.
How to start their children on a program. How to get them to understand the value of money. I've got two kids. You know, mine are one's almost 14, one's almost 18, and I've been talking to them about these elements for a very long time. And it's not about the stock market. You know, my son, my oldest son, he understands the basics of the stock market, but it's not about that. It's about asset classes, as you know, and those sorts of things. So where do you start with this? And for us, it's actually taking it all the way back to someone to have the realization that they need to start. Like that's all the way back to, oh, okay, I need to do this. So that's the first step, right? I'm not in control of my money. And it's not, because often we find, again, people get to a stage, they're 40 or 50 and they go, oh, I need to deal with my super. It's like, great, you should have been doing this when you were 20.
Yeah.
My credit cards are maxed out. I'm in a lot of trouble. I need to see an advisor. Actually, again, we should have started this when you had your first job, where you actually save up for things and have, spending money. And so these basic principles, if we can influence people right from the very beginning, give them those skills, that's going to lead to a much better result later on for the whole community.
Yeah.
For the whole of Australia, for globally, whatever it is, right? If you can have that sort of influence and change the conversation to let's try and mandate everyone into the right super fund.
Yeah.
And that'll fix this problem. It won't. It's ridiculous, and don't start me down that track. Like, it's just wrong. Which is the best super fund? Well, bloody hell.
Yeah. Actually, just on that, I had a cousin, a young cousin, because I kicked off my financial planning business in 2013, and he said, actually, Clayton, I want to come chat to you. And he was only about, 20 years old or something like that at the time. And I remember sitting down with him, and I said to him, you speak about a lot of stuff, and a lot of stuff goes in one ear and out the other. And I guess I'd done a fair bit of calculations on this kind of stuff. And I said to him, the contributions between 20 and 30 will deliver the same result at age 60 than if you'd done from 30 to 60.
Yep.
So you can get 30 years of result in 10 years if you start at 20 rather than starting at 30. Like, it's that big of a deal, that initial decade. And he literally took that one line, and that was now 7-8 years ago. And he's absolutely killing it. He just decided to salary sacrifice this chunk every week into super. And he's all these years in, and he's almost now 30, and he's almost achieved that, which blows my mind, right? Like, he's actually done it.
100%. I've got a story about that too. But yeah, the line I use around that is do something today that your future self will thank you for.
Yeah, precisely.
Right. So exactly to that point. So we've got a client who runs a very successful electrical business. Has had a reasonably good year and wanted to give back to his staff members, and came to see me because he knows that I've got some experience in that space, and said, right, Paul, I want to work out how to build an employee benefits program.
Wow.
How do I sort these guys out? He's got a lot of young, a couple of apprentices and some young guys. And I said, okay, well, the best thing you can do, he was looking at paying the bonuses and things like that. I said, no, let's not do that. You can do that, give them pay rises over time and all that sort of thing, but let's do something unbelievably meaningful. So he paid for me to go and see them all and make sure their super was aligned. But also, he said he would match every dollar up to $2,000 that they salary sacrificed into their super. He would match it.
Sensational.
Right? You do the sums, salary sacrificing $2,000, it's not that much, right?
Oh my God. You wouldn't even notice it.
Exactly right. It's $40 a week or something. Like, it's just gone. You wouldn't even notice it.
Especially after tax. Oh my God. Right.
That's exactly right. So you do that. He's putting another $2,000 in plus the SG contributions, and it ended up, and you do the assumptions and the graphs, and it was more than double that they would end up with their super, right?
Yeah. Huge. Plus, an amount that they wouldn't even realise.
Right, and putting it, and look, we didn't change super funds or whatever, so just, it was always, one had CBUS, one had Aussie Super, good, solid, but making sure that they weren't in my super, because we all know that's a race to the bottom. Getting them, they're quite young, put them into something that's a bit more aggressive and 100% growth, and the good that does is massive, right? And
oh man,
it works for the employer because they have a really good staff benefit strategy.
Yeah,
because no one else is going to do that.
No,
and it doesn't really cost you that much. It's a government. It's not. It's a taxable expense.
It's pretty low cost for the employer as well.
It's fantastic. But again, it's affecting younger people, and I made sure I sat down with these young guys and made sure they understood what was going on.
Yeah.
Especially I do quite a big asset class presentation. Spend time showing them what the asset classes mean, and it doesn't have to be over the top, but by the end they go, okay, I understand and I want to do this.
Yeah.
Again, re-educating people as to what risk is.
Yep.
Then that's a very interesting one. Risk is probably to the heart of this. People see things as risky when they're not.
Especially before a sequencing risk at age 55, right? Like anything pre-age 55 is sort of irrelevant, almost. You almost want the market to tank for your entire career so that all the money that you go in means you're purchasing everything at a low price and then, go up later on. So whenever I'm talking to mates and they go, my super's gone down 20%, I said, awesome. Yeah. Salary sacrifice more, then you're getting an immediate 20% uplift without breaking your sweat, because obviously
stop looking at it.
Because the reality is, and if you think about all the ASX or the stock market is large companies. So if large companies around the world tank, right? So if the stock market over the next 20 or 30 years goes to hell, right? If that does happen, you're not going to be worried about your super. You're going to be worried about finding food on the street somewhere.
100%.
It would need to be Armageddon for the stock market to go down. If anything, companies are getting better at acquiring and earning more money, which means the chances of the stock market going down is even reduced because it's becoming a science now. So
the issue here has been that, if you invest in your super fund, you all you know is that it's called whatever super, and it's in my super or it's in aggressive or some real bad terminology.
Yeah.
And and again, this is this re-education program, that we have to undergo as financial advisors, where you've got to break the myths. And, I had a client recently who was saying, well, I just, I didn't have much money growing up and I see this super money and I just don't want to put it at risk and I'm just very careful of it.
Classic.
And I was like, okay, well, let's talk about it. Let's unpack it and work out what's in your super and, shares. Shares go up and down. Okay, yeah, well, they do, but that's just because they're priced that way. It's not because, that's the market. It's not because... So we started talking about some of the funds, some of the shares that are in the funds and what that means and the holdings and how they all work. And it worked out, should work for a few of them. And I said, well...
Are they going anywhere?
Woolworths being one of them. And I'm like, well, did you feel that was a risk? Oh, God, no. That was a great company. So would you invest in that company? Oh, absolutely. Right. Let's turn risk on the head. And let's look at levers like, having cash and fixed interest in a growth portfolio. It's a handbrake, right? They absolutely have their purpose in our world, but for the right situation.
Absolutely.
And if you're in accumulation...
Actually, you're the one that sort of walked me through a few years ago, keeping, 2 to 3 years of cash for retirement clients. So
when you talk about sequencing risk, I don't see it as much because it's a management program over time. People are living longer. It's not like you retire and change everything to cash and then hope to
right.
hold on, right? That's not a strategy.
No, God, no.
hope's not a strategy. You got to make sure that you have a good plan in place. So
yes,
even our oldest clients have growth elements in their portfologios because you need to get that income piece as well. So it's a very, we can go on to that for ages, but getting people to understand, look, these funds, these fund managers, and look, we use fund managers. I probably have the skill set to do it, but I don't have the time and I don't want to do it. We use thorough professionals who are going to invest in these companies and study them and go and meet these people. I mean, I've been in investor meetings, and these companies are ripped apart by these fund managers. So they know exactly exactly what's going on, what their future prospects are before they put a cent in. They're not just, look, maybe with some of the index options, they're just having to invest in anything and everything. But, I love indexing and I've got no issues with that at all. So don't take that out of context. And we have that in our portfolio. But the listing rules to be on the ASX are really, really high. ASIC, APRA. I mean, we know how many regulators we've got. Too many. It's the risk is that you're in the wrong asset class for your time frame. That's the risk.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Okay, that's the risk. That's risk to me. So if you have a very long time frame, the risk is that you are in cash and you don't have enough money left because you don't. You're not fighting inflation. You're not growing your pile. You're not using compounding. Just whacking your money into a term deposit, as we've seen, is death by the installment plan. What are you getting on your term deposit now? 0.8.
Yeah, negative after inflation. So
it is a serious situation for people in that position. Whereas if you have some, the right asset class, you've built up money over time. Plus, you've built up education. If you are an advisor and you have clients, as long as you're educating them, they understand it. By the time they hit retirement, and you have to have, change their mix, they understand what you're doing. They know why, because you've already prepared them. They've been on the journey with you. But that journey needs to start
as young as possible.
When you're 5.
Do you have a strict or year by year education program that you like to take ongoing clients through? Is that a part of your ongoing service that you say, okay, we're at year 3, for example, so this is the sort of stuff that I kind of want to spend this year educating around, or is it less structured than that?
Look, right now it's less structured than that. I suppose it's inbuilt in me and Kath, where we are trying to move our business towards that. And awesome. As you know, these things take time.
Oh, gotcha.
And also every client's different. So it's not like they all come on year 1 at the same spot, right?
Yeah.
Look, I make sure I spend the time with each client to understand where they're at and where they need to be and where I need to move them. Plus also where they want to be in terms of education. A lot of the time they go, look, Paul, I don't want to know. I don't need to know. I make sure we get them to where I need them to be.
Yeah.
But beyond that, look, in our terms of our ongoing, we educate a lot. So at the start of COVID, we took the decision to over-communicate, not under-communicate.
Yep.
So, you either do two, you either go disappear and go, well, I'm not sure what's going on. I'll just stick to what we've done and we'll do an annual review. We as a business do a quarterly snapshot for every client so they understand it. That's part of our education. So instead of them calling us up and saying, what do I need, or where am I, or I'm not sure, there's certain events. Every quarter, we send them a snapshot. So it's not a review, it's a snapshot of what they've got. So, and if they call us up, we sort of train them and say, well, you sent your snapshot, it's all on there, and everything they need, so what their super balances are, what their investment balances are, all their insurance, everything is laid out there quarterly for them.
Awesome.
With a market commentary on what's happened for the quarter.
Cool.
Okay, so that's seasonal, so we make it spring, summer, all that.
Awesome.
That was part of the decision to educate clients, so they know what they've got, because that's a big key. Most people don't know what they've got, let alone what to do with it. So awareness is the key. So that was a big part of what we do.
Yes.
During COVID, we took the decision to update weekly.
Whoa.
So every Friday afternoon, once the market closes, I give a weekly update now.
Holy dooly.
To our ongoing clients. They get, so it's whatever's happened during the week. And, half the time you wait till Friday and go. Like the other week, I was halfway writing one. I went, and then I saw this headline: Donald Trump's got COVID-19. I'm like, delete. Let's start again. And as you would know from knowing me, I get quite colourful with what I say, and
animated.
It's my opinion and our opinion, and as a practice, but it's meant to actually show people what's happening instead of them seeing the headlines. Markets up, markets down. I've educated now our wonderful client base around volatility and what that means.
Awesome.
So it's been months now. I do it every week. It's probably going to form part of our practice going forward.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't take that long. It's a couple of pages at max and a few graphs, and it's evolving, because I'm telling stories. I'm not just talking about the market as a whole all the time. You drill down between stocks and get them to understand there might be some really good stories on what's happened and why, just so they can understand instead of watching the headlines. The headlines are inflammatory, and the headlines are meant to sell newspapers or meant to sell eyeballs. That's what they're for, right?
Yes.
We talk. Look, there's going to be some volatility around, and now our clients know what that means now. Which is a big. We feel like it's a big win, and I get messages. We get, thanks, we love it. It's great, because they look to us for that guidance. So we need to provide it.
Mate, that's awesome. Do you go into the volatility index on the Chicago Exchange, talking about the price of put options and, No, don't go into that sort of stuff?
No. Well, you don't want to over-egg it, mate.
Sure. Yeah, fair enough.
You've got to know who you're talking to. So
yes.
I'm not writing this for advisors. I'm not writing this for it's not money stuff. What's his name from Goldman Sachs, or ex-Goldman Sachs guy from who's now writing for Bloomberg. Money stuff. It's a great one if anyone wants to look it up. I'm not writing it for fund managers. I'm not writing it for you. I'm writing it for my treasured ongoing clients who I want to support and look after for forever. So I know them. I know what they want generally, and I mix it up around that. So and it's a lot of the time it's been a pretty boring week. I mean, for a while we were and I use the ASX 200 as my benchmark for Australia. I'm saying we're just oscillating around that one. We're up at 6,200, we're down at 5,800, but at the end of the day, there's been sideways movement around that for a long time. I mean, we have a budget. The market's up 5.5% for the week. Oh, it's huge. Well, where we are, we're just at the top of the range, and let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Let's just keep everyone calm, and let's drip feed everyone who needs to be drip fed into the market is still being drip fed into the market. Just those sort of, my job's to keep everyone calm, not get overexcited.
Yes.
React to things when we need to react to things. But, when the market fell during COVID, and we haven't spoken all about that, it was like, well, I didn't know what was going on. No one did. Anyone who says they did is... Well,
it was a complete non-systemic issue. There was
man-made, totally, yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't report on it because it wasn't a financial thing. It was a behavioural thing, technically.
Well, and we were probably saying the market was topping out before then anyway, and had some worrying signals, and, I was watching that. I wasn't shorting or anything, but, no one would have seen what happened. And no one would have seen the bounce back either, the violent bounce back. I mean, plenty of people, I got out. And I'm like, great, are you back in? No, I'm not back in yet.
Oh, my God, yeah.
And it's
the worst mistake possible.
Well, look, is it, nothing. As long as you don't overcommit, and make something fatal, you're going to be right. And having that 3 years in cash as your response for all our retiree clients, making sure that they had 3 years of expenses in cash as part of our plan. They weren't, none of them. They were like, none of them were stressed.
Mate, that's sensational. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about in terms of COVID as well. But just out of respect for your time, I'll put a pause on it now. But I'm sure we'll get episode 5 out within the next 6 or so months, mate. So look, thank you again, as always, Paul, for coming on. I really do appreciate your insights, man. I love what you're doing. Obviously, big fan of I've just learnt so much from you over the years. So, mate, thanks for coming on.
Mate, I love being on here. And, yeah, look, anyone wants to get in touch with us, it's at truedirection.com.au. And, yeah, our education program's called 45 Billion Reasons. You'll see a bit more of that coming out over the next few months. So, yeah, hopefully that has a big impact on the community as well. So it's called 45 Billion Reasons, by the way, because that's the credit card debt in Australia. So we want to tackle that, right? So,
interesting.
A lot of people are paying that off at the moment, but that was the idea behind it, getting people to understand what they're doing. So.
Awesome. And you're also quite active on XY as well, so advisors can find you on there. So, mate, thank you so much for coming.
Pleasure, Clay. Great to see you, mate, and talk soon.
All right, cheers, mate.
Bye.